our systems can't actually do that because that's a 100 graphic card ka work.
Okay.
Like that. So actually we have to go to render farming. So render farming is a place which is in a, you can say it is a cloud rendering setup where actually they have these big servers like we have it in Google, Facebook and all. They have bigger hard drive servers stored in a cold storage area. So they have like you can say lakhs together graphic card which they have assigned. So if I am going for render farming, actually 100 graphic cards are running for me. So I'm just paying them for per hour, and these 100 graphic cards will run at a time and give me the output.
So here we usually talk about design, automation, and tech. And your journey specifically has been from learning about design but moving into tech, right?
Yeah.
Which is really nice for us to have you here. So what we'll do is we'll try to. So we are going to learn a lot in this video. I think I'm going to learn a lot. But we are going to break down rendering and visualization till the T and understand each aspect of it. Okay. I'm going to take out any information you or knowledge you have about all of these things.
You're gonna squeeze all the information.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So the first thing is what are the kind of exciting projects you're doing at this point? We can start from there. If you are, let's first talk about what projects they are, and then we'll go deep in each one of them.
So we are working on like lot of projects. Basically, if you see like 70-80% are all residential projects.
Okay.
But more excited we are for the other 30%.
Okay.
So that is like cityscape projects, even small product renders. So we are doing all, like we are doing from a small product rendering to bigger cityscape projects.
Right.
So what we are excited about is the cityscape project, what we are doing. It's a smart city project.
Okay.
And as you know, as India is growing, so we can see a lot of smart cities coming up, and lot of people, lot of urban planners are coming up with their own plans and all.
Yeah.
So I'm associated with a urban planner, Freedom of Design. So they are coming up with a very nice smart city project. So
I mean, the idea is why, I mean, one is rendering and visualization is important, but why do you think it's important for you to do this job? For, say, architects, and I'm sure you're doing in different fields, I mean, working on different fields as well, right? So why do you think it's important? What are you bringing? What's the value you guys are bringing to the table?
So actually, when it comes to the cityscape and like if you're particularly speaking about that kind of projects, there's a lot of learning.
Okay.
Like actually in virtual world, we are creating the whole city. So we get to learn a lot, and we are adding things to the table, like we are exploring new software. So it's not only one software we are working on a particular project. We use, you can say somewhere around, actually in our office we have 15 projects, like 15 softwares. But the thing is, what specifically we are using is 3-4. But when it comes to bigger scales like this, we kind of go all the way.
Right.
And like we kind of explore a lot of softwares and plugins and all this. So you can say 15 of them is what we are using.
I'm more curious about like using all of this. What's the end product you're creating? What is it for the user? Like for me, if I'm getting a house render done, what am I getting at the end of the day? How is that useful? Is my question.
Okay. So actually it is, you can say it's like a proof of design for you. So that especially I think architects can are actually facing a problem of like to convey their design to the end users, might be the customers, might be the vendors, might be the carpenters, might be all the people. So it is like keeping all of them in the loop. And then that's the one thing which is holding, is what I feel like. Render is like a proof of design for
I think it's like a language to convey saying this is the design I have made, but then I think architects can convey to each other saying, okay, this is what the idea is.
Correct.
But then to tell it to somebody else, you need the final product to be ready even before, like making the house up.
Correct.
That makes sense. But how does that change on a city scale to a scale when you're talking about a product scale, right? If you're going as small as, say, a coffee maker or like a plate or anything of that sort. How does that help?
Totally, the softwares change.
Okay.
So actually, the thing is, we are nowadays, if you see all the 3D visualizers, or might be the architects who have in-house this thing, they are using SketchUps and 3D Max. So we are kind of getting away from that. We are using more of the animated software, what animators are using.
Okay.
Because the thing is, they have more flexibility, they have more polygon depth, they have more material depth, and the result is just wow.
Now that you have talked about polygon depth and all of this, what
Yeah.
does that really mean?
Mm.
So if say this was the table I am rendering,
Mm.
what does it mean for me to have more polygon depth or like a lesser polygon depth in terms of if we are doing it on SketchUp or like these Max and stuff like that? What's the difference between these two softwares?
So if you see widely by architects, SketchUp is used.
Okay.
So if you see
It's
SketchUp is
still
just
being used.
it's still
Let's
being
just
used.
mention that. Yeah.
That's the best and easiest software. And actually, if you see, I also got my interest from that particular software only.
Okay. Okay.
But actually, there are some drawbacks if you get into a professional world. So what happens? You can't just push and pull and show it to the client. So that's not a table.
So push and pull meaning you're
Yeah.
extruding a surface or you're like compacting a surface,
Yeah,
right?
correct. So if you make a table, that's your work, or hardly you will do some small cornicings or some
Yeah.
small curvings and all.
Yeah.
But you won't actually be able to get that realism in the render, even if you have a very good rendering software.
Right.
So what we do is we use some softwares like Unreal Engine, Blender, and things like that, which can actually create the depth and the edges so soft and so smooth, and the material depth and the age of the material, the weathering, everything is so cool in that, basically.
So more details with like I think also uses lesser power, right? If you
Yeah.
want to talk about that.
Correct.
Like the same thing if you're doing on SketchUp or Max and you have like say 1,000 polygon and the same thing being in Blender is a different ball game, right?
Correct, correct. Because it doesn't read the model in a way like how we are doing. Because I think architects face a very huge problem of lagging in a particular file. Might be if it's a SketchUp file. If you have a 2 BHK house, it lags a lot. If you
Yeah.
put the whole decor in it, including the decor, including the plantations, it starts lagging. But when you use Blender, when you use Unreal Engine, when you use Twinmotion, these are a lot of softwares. Like even Rhino, SketchUp, like not SketchUp, Rhino and Grasshopper and all those things. You can see a lot of difference.
I think Rhino still is quite heavy as a tool, but then the more you get into Twinmotion, because they're specifically for getting renders out, I think they're way better.
Correct.
Right. Now, this we are talking about the softwares. What's the end product like? So when we are talking about a product scale end product which you're creating in visualization, how is that different from the visualization you're creating for a city scale? Like there might be walkthroughs you're talking about, but what else? What is the layers or like different kinds of product which you giving as a service to these people?
Yeah. So actually, when it comes to cityscape, it's not just limited to image renderings and walkthroughs, and it is not also limited to virtual reality. So virtual reality, even everyone knows, it is a stitch of a 360 image. So nowadays, like virtual reality and AR VR is like very booming, and everyone is doing that. Like after the walkthrough, the next step is AR VR. But I feel when it comes to cityscape, the next step, what we are also working on, is 3.js and WebGL. So WebGL and 3.js are these kind of online portals, or you can say these are all JavaScript. Basically, it is more towards the software part of it, or you can say more towards the coding part of it. But it is a good collaboration of our skills and the coder.
Okay.
So we have to explain him all these things, and then we have to get these things online.
Okay.
So you can break the model into.
So what
any
exactly
pieces.
is the process which you're following in this, if I want to understand? So first,
Yeah.
so usually rendering, how it happens is you have a design, you make a 3D out of it, and then you have these rendering tools, you set your scene, you set the kind of lighting you need, and then you hit render, you get the renders out, right?
Correct.
What is the difference between this kind of workflow to the 3.js, or you're talking about
WebGL.
WebGL, right?
Yeah.
So what is the difference between that and what is the end product that you're getting? So here you're getting image or you're getting a walkthrough or a video which you're rendering, right?
Correct. So actually, if you see, when you come to image rendering or any walkthrough, you already have set a particular customized context for that particular model. Might be it is the sunlight, might be it is the weather effect. You have already fixed it and you have delivered it to the client on the basis of what you want to show it to the client. But here it's a real time generated weather effect, and it is a real time generated context in front of you where WebGL and 3.js comes, where you have to feed in the data that this will be the day, this will be evening, this will be night, and all this data will be feeded in the model so that customer can change it according to his user experience and according to his
Right,
choice.
right. So it's basically like I'm uploading my model to this portal, say the web portal, and then I'm giving these details of like morning, evening, the kind of renders I want. And for the client, it's more like playing a game saying, okay, I have this model and I can change all of this and see exactly how it will turn out to be, right? If
Correct.
I'm understanding
Yeah.
right. And then I can go inside or out or however I want to move through the model, I can see exactly how it's going to turn out.
Correct.
Right.
So you have the whole control of the model with the realism what is being feeded in the model via online portal.
Right. What does realism really mean in rendering now?
Yeah,
Like that's a very
that's a very good question.
okay.
So actually, you can say we are in a virtual world, okay? But to get the realism inside a model is a kind of a different ball game altogether. But the thing is, what happens once you are having a 3D model in front of you and you want to make it look realistic? So what all things you will actually feed? You have to take inspirations from the real life, your real life environment, where you are, what is the sunlight here in
Right.
India, what is the
Right.
latitude, longitude, what is the kind of landscape you have nearby, what is the kind of context you have nearby, what is the kind of roads you have nearby. So that's where you have to take the inspiration and then you put infuse in the model. That's
Right.
where the art, artist, and architecture, all these three come in,
Right.
and then we get a render.
Right, right.
Like
That's very well said. I think, yeah, I mean, we think that render is nothing but like creating this, like just giving light from one side and like well lit, and then you hit render and that's it. A lot of people do that. A
correct.
lot of people do that. But then when you go to these hyper realistic renders, which actually look like an image, you can't really differentiate between if it is real life or not. That's art,
Correct.
right? At some point, you're like, maybe this is an actual bedroom which I'm looking at, but that's a render.
Correct.
But what kind of hardware does go behind all of this, right? Because I don't think that I can do on my laptop because it just burns,
Correct.
right? If I'm doing a regular render itself, my laptop is just burning. What kind of tools do you guys use?
Correct. So actually, what I would like to suggest for someone who's starting in the rendering field, I suggest like we should never use a laptop.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where I went wrong.
So the difference being actually we have also come and we have tried and tested that process. So what happens in a laptop, you don't have that heat dissipation. Even if you have a very nice, usually these gaming laptops are like nowadays if you see the advertisements, people kind of buy it, wow, 2 lakh gaming laptop, I'm going to get everything. But when you actually use that gaming laptop, you have the issue with the rendering. Modeling would be super easy for you,
Right.
and you will actually feel like, yeah, this is the best laptop. But once you get into too much of a professional rendering, and basically if you want an ultra realistic rendering, I would suggest you go for a desktop. The heat dissipation and the way you can customize the desktop, you can't do it in the
Okay.
laptop. So desktops have this liquid cooling technology and all those things, but in laptop you don't have that. So you have lot of customizations which you can do in a particular cabinet, then you can do it in the laptop.
Right, right. What's the most basic configuration would you suggest for one, somebody who's starting out, but also who's a professional, who's getting into like one starting out would be like somebody who's in college and doing renders. What kind of configuration should they have? And the other is if I'm getting into professionally getting into visualization, what kind of setup should I have?
Basically, the one who's starting with the thing, I think he should go with, might be like, if I'm being technically, you can say like NVIDIA RTX versions. So nowadays, that is the minimum requirement for a graphic card. Like
Right.
RTX versions are the
Best.
minimum graphic cards what you have to have. You need to have a good RAM.
Hmm.
Good
What
RAM.
what are we saying? What is good RAM now?
So good RAM is Minimum has to be 64 GB. Minimum.
Wow. Okay.
Because if you see the softwares what nowadays are coming, they are not light softwares. They are
Yes, yes.
heavy softwares only. So whatever someone is starting, he has to come with all
Right,
these things.
Right.
And I feel like they need to have a good operating system. Operating system Windows is more than enough, like a newer version.
Yeah.
And then liquid cooling if they have an option. So that is a starter
So I think
pack we
that
can
can
say.
be in a laptop also, right? Like once I'm in college, getting RTX and all of this in a laptop
Correct.
should be fine.
That's
In
what I said you.
college,
In college, obviously, you have to
yeah, because if
take it.
I don't know if a lot of people have like systems in their college because you also have to take it to college, to
Correct.
work on it.
Mhm.
So that will become a problem.
Correct. No, for
But
students, that is okay. But I'm
yeah,
saying someone who's starting his work,
correct.
a
No,
professional work,
100%, yeah.
I would like to suggest you need to go for a desktop
Yeah,
because you will just be figuring out how to load that model and you have to just keep waiting for the render to come.
yeah.
So that's not what you
Understandable.
want to do at the end of the day. Because in the generation of AI,
In
as
the
we are,
generation of AI, we are still using SketchUp. So
yeah.
let's not even. And AutoCAD.
Correct. So as we are talking about AI, I'm like really excited about AI.
Yeah.
Like people are feeling like AI is actually going to eat away jobs, but I feel AI is a very exciting tool which has come out in the
Yeah,
market,
I think.
and it is getting like a lot of traction.
Yeah, I mean, whoever I speak to who is using AI in the field are extremely excited. The people who don't know about AI or has not used or like even like tried a bit of it in their like professional career, those are the people who are thinking that it's going to be bad for us. But how is it helping you exactly? Because I think many of the things you guys are also trying to automate, right, in your
Correct.
firm.
As you said the right word, automate.
Hmm.
So that's helping us a lot. Like when we are using AI, we are actually saving a lot of time doing the context, doing the things by just feeding the values inside the input AI machine and then getting it out. So don't like think that AI is a like real machine or something like that. Basically, it is a cloud. You can say like it's a cloud computing where I am just inputting the data. There, someone else's graphic card is running and it is throwing away the image to me.
Okay.
So the image is the output, but AI
Okay.
still has to develop. It has to come up with its own 3D model version where it can actually give the output as a 3D model. That is still
That's going to be epic if we can get there and like get
yeah,
plans out of it. Then
correct.
most of the firms will be shut, hopefully. But what kind of renders are you guys getting out of this?
Yeah.
Is it like a small image render which you want? Because we were also trying in our company at Atkins, because sometimes you have to do like these huge presentations. So we try to build up the model, the base model, and then get the render out of it, right?
Correct.
But the kind of renders you get, maybe like once in 100 render actually makes sense.
Correct.
And others are just hideous. Like it makes zero sense. Sometimes the whole model is put in on a table. I'm like, this is a huge building we are talking about. Then you're giving a context. Still, it doesn't do a good job. Still getting there, but some of the images are fabulous. Like you can actually use it in your presentation to show. Then Photoshop has come up with its own AI tool where you can like overlay all kinds of things, which has made our lives easier because otherwise you're just looking for these images. How exactly are you guys using AI?
So actually, as you said it right, the base model is created by you. So even we do the same because we don't want the whole control to be taken by AI. Because what happens once I am creating a base model, I just want the detailings, the textures, the lighting, the realism from AI. I really don't want me to explain and spend my time that the window size is this, the door size is this,
Yeah.
the height is this. Because if you keep explaining that, you will be becoming more of a coder than a visualizer.
Right.
So what we do is our base model is always in the
Yeah.
manual mode, and then we take the creativity in the AI mode by adding our inputs.
Okay.
So actually, if you see in AI, we have lot of other parameters. There are input parameters, there are output parameters. There are so many other things where we keep giving those keywords to the AI to get us a particular model.
Okay.
Like
I
that.
think we have to do one session about these keywords because I think everyone wants to learn. At least
Yeah.
I want to learn how these keywords really, really mean. But what is the size of images like right now you guys are getting? Say, is it like 4K detailing? Are we getting that? And in that also, I think once you get an image, there are parts which you don't really want from the image. So how are you taking that out? Is it easy for you to overlay something on top of it and create something which you can actually use? Because I feel like the first render which you get from AI you don't really use it as like the images arrive to you. You try to create another layer of stuff. What are you guys doing for that? Are you using the same,
Yeah.
the
So,
output which you're getting?
no, actually, we are not using the same output, but we are actually changing the parameters. So there is if you say the whole AI world is still in the beta stage. So beta stage in the sense it's just starting out. So what happens is once you are doing these, we are trying out new websites. We have also been trying from past 2 years. So we have come up with some 2 3 website which we are very comfortable, and we have taken the subscriptions.
Please tell us.
So that's where we get the actual output for us. So it's better to take subscriptions than taking the
Okay.
starting free credits. You can just give it a trial, but don't just move out from the website. You will, if you actually take the subscription of things, you can experiment a lot. And once you learn the way it is moving, then it is actually easy for you to
Okay.
get comfortable with the software. It's basically
Right.
just getting comfortable with that particular AI tool.
Okay. So
Like
is
that.
it like useful to get these subscription? Because some of them are expensive also, right?
Yeah, correct. But as we are in a professional field, we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to
Correct.
just to save some time. And especially what happens if you see, like whenever we are doing a commercial render, basically glass is a very big challenge in a rendering field.
Okay.
If you take any commercial complex or something, the reflections, the transparency, so the amount of time taken for a residential project is 5 times more than a commercial project, just for rendering, I'm saying.
Wow.
Obviously the work would be almost the same. The time taking to create the model is fine, but I'm talking about a walkthrough. I'm talking about a commercial walkthrough which takes a lot of time. You can say 5 times more than this. So that's where I feel like we have to depend on AI, and we are actually trying AI walkthroughs also
Oh,
via
wow.
this, by inputting our 3D model or our input sketches and then getting the walkthrough from the
Yeah.
AI. But experimentation is always there. The first output is never good output, as you said, but you keep putting the parameters. Might be on the 30th or 40th take, you will have it. But that's faster than actually what you're doing.
I mean, if say this tool evolves to be something wherein like I can just give feedback or like give some sort of um, keywords to it and I can only do render, why are people coming to you to get render then? How is that? How is the job going to change?
So actually the thing is, if you see, as we are not totally dependent on AI is just a finishing tool for us. But the way we do the model to texturing, to lighting, to rendering, and then taking a small help of AI, that's a long process. So for that, we need 3D visualizers, and we need experts who are actually doing things.
Right. Do you think this is going to change in any like near future wherein we'll not need 3D visualizers at all?
I don't think. I feel like the field is growing like anything.
Okay.
I can't see it stopping only.
Okay.
It is going everywhere. And as I said, you WebGL and 3.js, it is going to change the industry
Right.
totally.
I'm sure it's going to change, and I think
Yeah.
all the fields are changing into like scaling up.
Yeah.
Because I think because of these tools and the kind of softwares which have come up, anyone can do hyper realistic render. If you know, I mean, I'm not saying anyone, but like people who know the tools, right?
Correct.
Which is before we couldn't, right? The other thing is also you need like huge systems to do these renders, these movies to be rendered and stuff. You have these farms, right? What are those?
So actually, if you see, sometimes we are also outsourcing to render farms.
Oh,
So what happens when we have a project deadline, especially when it comes to projects like cityscape or urban, might be landscaping or something like that, which is quite in acres. So our systems can't actually do that because that's a 100 graphic card ka work.
Okay.
Like that. So actually we have to go to render farming. So render farming is a place which is in a, you can say it is a cloud rendering setup where actually they have these big servers like we have it in Google, Facebook and all. They have bigger hard drive servers stored in a cold storage area. So they have like you can say lakhs together graphic card which they have assigned. So if I am going for render farming, actually 100 graphic cards are running for me. So I'm just paying them for per hour, and these 100 graphic cards will run at a time and give me the output.
Nice.
Instead of we rendering in 6, 7 systems or 10 systems.
Okay.
Like
I
that.
was thinking only these bigger companies have these rendering farm, but you can outsource this as well, you're saying.
Yeah. Because we have to do it given the time. So that's why I said we are we are exploring more of AI because of we want to cut down the timing. Actually, if you see, AI is also working in a render farming technology only. It is not just picking up pixels from internet and giving it to it. Actually, it is rendering.
Oh.
If you see, some people say it is just picking images from internet
And overlapping,
it is
but
just,
it's not.
it's not that way, because if it was overlapping, it wouldn't get that realism.
Right.
It wouldn't get that sun angle.
Correct.
It wouldn't get that glass reflectivity what it has. So actually, all these AI softwares are actually outsourcing to render farms, or they already have the render farms where they have a lot of things connected. That's why they are taking subscriptions. Now the subscriptions are actually cheaper.
Oh, is it?
They are going to increase like a lot. They are getting
Oh, so
people
if you
dependent
get
on
it now, you're saying you should get it right now.
Yeah. And some AI plugins we have already taken lifetime subscriptions.
Oh, wow.
Some we are yet to, because they are not providing lifetime subscription. They are doing it monthly. Like that. So basically, you can say if our project cost is 100, then we have to at least spend 20 on AI.
20%.
Yeah. You can say that's like a marketing budget.
Okay.
Like that. But it's a new technology and we are
You have to explore.
Yeah, we are exploring this and we are kind of excited about this.
Right.
So we want to learn a lot.
Does that also reduce the number of people you need in your firm to do your work?
No,
Because you're automating a couple of things.
Actually, you are right in that way. So I have the speed where I was hiring. So actually, I have a team of 10 people now. Before 2 years, I had a team of 6 people. So actually, it was gradually increasing. Now the speed has slowed down, but projects are also increasing.
Yeah, that's
but
the
people
thing,
are the same.
right? Exactly. So that's what I want to know. To the manpower, the number of projects you're able to take would be more if you're getting these tools in.
Yeah.
Right? That's a really good thing for
So
you.
actually, it is a very good thing.
Yeah, then your
It's better to
20% makes
spend
sense.
20%.
Yeah. And you don't have to have the hassle of like teaching new people. You already have a set system for you.
Correct.
Yeah. That makes sense. About this 2,500 acre smart city project, we'll go back to it again.
Yeah.
What exactly are you guys exploring in this? And are you guys also doing the 3.js thing which you just told me about? Are you guys uploading this to cloud? What other features are you doing? Just tell me about the whole project.
Yeah. So actually, in this project, we got to learn a lot because this was the first project for us to work on that big scale. Actually, even I did not imagine that I would be doing such a big project and in a particular span of time. So
what was the time limit? This is very important. So every time I get a work in my office,
correct,
they're like, okay, Madhavi, this is the work. And the last sentence would be, but we have a time crunch.
Yeah.
It's like, but we were also exploring and learning, right? But you have 2 weeks to finish it, which is like, when do you explore and when do you finish the work, right?
Correct.
So that's very important. Tell how much time, because if it's a city scale, you can keep doing project for a year or 2 or 3 also.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you guys go?
So actually, if you see the urban planner whom we were working with, he was kind enough. So he gave us a very good timeline, but not like a very bigger timeline, like a year or 2. He gave us a timeline of 6 months.
Okay.
But for us, 6 months was also a big task.
Yeah.
Because the team size what we had and the expertise, we were just starting then. So it was 4 years before we did this project, and we are still doing the changes of that project. But the delivery of the project was done in 6 months. So we were really happy about that.
Take us through the process of like, how did you start? What did you guys do?
Actually, we learned a lot in terms of automation. Because with a team size of 6 people then we had 6 people with the team size of 6, and you have other projects also running. What you can do best is assign 3 of them, not more than that.
Right.
Like, I'm just getting into the math of it. So if 3 people are working on this project, you have to be very sure enough that these guys are working more on the automation, and they are not creating building by building, because it's a smart city project. So we went into a lot of automation tools. We went into like a lot of softwares. Might be there are 7 to 8 softwares which we have.
Do you want to name these
worked.
softwares, like, at least?
Sure,
Yeah.
we can. So actually, Blender. So Blender has a lot of plugins where we can actually take the latitudes and longitudes of a particular place, and then we can auto generate the context
Okay.
of that model. So that will just give you the raw 3D model of the cityscape context, which is
Okay.
there. So I'm just talking about the context. I haven't come to the design part yet.
Yeah.
So when we generate the context also, this guy wanted us to do it in a very realistic manner. It should not be just an extruded box like that. Then we took that particular software to Unreal Engine. Then we did some more plugins. We added more plugins, and we added the doors, windows, and all in the plate wise method. And then we put that algorithm where we had actually windows and doors and glass mullions placed on that particular
Wow.
model. Instead of just keeping a raw model,
Correct.
we added those layers, so that added a bit more realism in the project. And coming to our main part of the project, we did the basic, because the whole project was in curves. We did the whole basics in Rhino, because Rhino has a very nice curve and spline tools that we can explore, and we can do it.
Yes.
Then after that, we took that model to 3D Max. 3D Max, you can say it is like the base. We do it. If you explore a lot of projects, somehow it comes to 3D Max.
You're
Automatically it
going
comes.
back to 3ds Max every.
Yeah, at least for the basics we go
Okay.
like that. Then we did the detailing, then we did the landscaping, then the whole process came into the walkthrough images. So after that, the next step was WebGL and 3.js. So WebGL and 3.js, we have uploaded that model, and we took a help of a software engineer, a friend of mine. He has uploaded the 3D model, and he has made it in such a way that if you hide, unhide, click, and delete or add or things like that at a particular day and time, you can do all these things.
Wow.
In that.
I remember, like, I asked you about how did you start, and you were saying you used to play with these cards and build some things.
Right.
From there, I mean, that is a very design and like making kind of thing perspective. How did that end up into like modeling? Because I usually think people who are like using these Lego blocks or like blocks to make, they'll get into pure designing. You went into rendering and visualization, which is a bit different from what I would think of you ending. I mean, the kind of path you taking.
Correct. So actually, what happened? As I said, when I was a kid, I used to like enjoy a lot creating small building blocks. Might be through wooden blocks. Might be most of it was it through cards and all. And I used to call my friends also just to see how big the card structure I have made. So like that. So I got that small interest in architecture then. Obviously, I did not know the field then. Then slowly I got to know, okay, there is a field where we can actually do things like design and build and all those things. So that's where I got the attraction. So my core focus was architecture only from the starting.
Oh, wow.
So it was never 3D visualization. So actually 3D visualization came in the way. So actually it was, you can say it was a surprise for me also, that how come I switched from architecture to 3D visualization.
Right.
Like that.
When did that happen?
So that happened in third year.
Okay.
So what happened, like we started, if you see in first year of architecture, we are all doing physical models. So I don't think hardly someone is using CAD, but nowadays I don't know.
Nowadays they are, I hope so, but
Yeah.
back when we were doing it, it's mostly hand drafting and then maybe like just drafting on AutoCAD Max.
Correct. So in second year, AutoCAD started. So AutoCAD also, like I was also quite comfortable, and I had that thought, okay, like I will actually go into architecture, and I will become a core architect, as what they say. So, but in third year, I was introduced to these softwares. So the first software was SketchUp. Like that. So that was so easy, so smooth. And then I was like, Wow, this is a very nice software. I started exploring. Then I found like there are some better softwares also.
Okay.
There are 3D Max. Then after that, it went on.
Right.
Like if you see, I don't have really a formal training in 3D visualization.
Oh.
So I have
You've explored through
through
life.
YouTube. Through YouTube, totally. Yeah. So I wanted to learn like a lot. So I was like, actually, there is a big digital part in designing. So it's not only building on site, it is actually building virtually
Right.
and in design. So I was more keen and more towards the technological part of architecture rather than being in the core architecture like how usually people are doing. So I wanted to explore more technological part, basically the tech part of it. If you see, that tech part actually comes with I can go back again saying that I used to do actually web designing
Oh.
from the age of, might be when I was in PUC. I
Okay.
started doing web designing
Yeah.
because I had that interest, like how actually websites are made. Because that time, dot coms and e-commerce, everything was kind of booming. So somewhere the mix of
Right.
computers and architecture happened, and that's where I landed to a different world called as 3D visualization.
Right. How did you monetize this whole journey? Because it's very difficult to have a passion, but to actually understand that this is my market fit
Mhm.
and I can actually create something for my living as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. So actually, that's a really good question because that's where what happens when passion comes. Uh, People don't think about money sometimes. Like I can say 90% of people.
Mostly designers, and
Yeah.
because we are very inclined towards and very like we love what we are doing.
Mhm.
We don't want to get into like monetizing or like that
Correct.
part of it, which is very important. Then that's when we struggle a lot.
Correct. And especially when it comes to architecture, people also would like to suggest you like, why don't you do core architecture? You have more money there
Yeah.
because 3D visualization is 10% of that.
Yes.
In terms of financials, if you are earning 100 in architecture, you will actually earn 10 in 3D visualization. That's where I thought, no, I want to do this. Even though if it is like as you said, like the financials can be a bit less, I want to do this. But I thought, how about I play in scale? If you see, people are actually they are selling a small eraser, but they are playing in scale. So that's where 3D visualization also can be monetized when you bring it into a particular scale like that. So if you want to do any business, what I suggest is you play in scale also. So
Okay.
don't just be rounded up to like 4 or 5 clients or something like that. They are my fixed clients, or they are my fixed builders, or they are my fixed architects. You have to keep exploring more. And the more market capture you have, the more you'll enjoy it. Because with passion, obviously, money will, if money is flowing, the passion is more
Yeah.
greater.
Fuel.
Yeah.
When did you think that you actually got a hang of the monetary part of it as well?
Yeah. So actually,
How long did it take for you?
initially, you can say like starting 2 or 3 years was a bit of struggle. So I would like to come from
Were there
that
like
journey.
free work done for people?
No, I have never done a free
Oh
work.
yeah?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
I had that principle in my life: no free designs to anyone. So that is
Good.
for sure. Even if I'm earning, might be a small amount also is okay, but he has to pay me. I can't do it for free
Yeah,
at all.
that's a very important learning because we end up
Yeah.
like doing stuff for our relatives and friends, and
Correct.
we're like, okay, one free thing I'll do, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't.
Never do, because the thing is, it is actually going to degrade your professional value automatically. Take a small nominal amount as you're starting. Even you know you can't charge high, but I feel you charge a minimal, but don't do it for free.
Right. Now, couple of quick questions. What are the softwares would you suggest somebody who's starting to start exploring? Uh, and also the AI tools you would suggest for them to get subscription.
Okay. Coming from the starting, SketchUp, 3D Max, if you want to like explore some 3 4 new softwares, I would like to suggest go for Blender. I know that's not an architect software, but Blender will give you a lot of tools
Okay.
to explore. So you can learn Blender. Everything is available on YouTube. So nowadays you don't really have to have a formal training. If you're having a formal training, that is way better, because you'll have a structured way of learning. But if you want to go all the way out and like you want to explore things, go with Blender.
Yeah. And where do you learn this? YouTube.
YouTube.
Just go and learn on
Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah.
You just type anything, how to do this particular tool and how to generate this, how to auto generate this. You can get anything
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. And what about the AI part of it?
I have explored three, as I said, like I have taken subscription of mnml.ai, myarchitect.ai, and architecture.ai.
Okay. And what are
These
the
are the three.
differences between the three?
So if you see, all these three kind of will give you different kind of outputs. I feel myarchitect.ai will give you more kind of a dreamy output, but it'll look good
Okay.
like that. But if you want to go a bit more context based, if your client is saying no, I want that ultra realism, but I want to be connected to exact my particular context, mnml.ai is best
Okay.
like that.
All right. I think we've come to the end.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. I enjoyed a lot.
Good.